for a long time, and I hope you have a very productive and enjoyable conference over the next couple of days. And it's officially open. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Randall, and it's very appreciative that you've come here to officially open the GCAP 07 conference. Can I just quickly say on behalf of the members, the industry stakeholders and the GDAA that you take back to your government, to your minister and of course to MMV that we are most appreciative of the efforts that Multimedia Victoria has shown this industry and in particular GDAA. And I think the fact that we've got no fewer than 8 countries represented here at GCAP is testimony to your support. I think it's also important, as you mentioned, that in your presentation, that we've got we're an export economy, 98% export oriented. We are about jobs. We are about young kids. We're also about creative talent. And I think the reason that has grown is because of your support, Randall. So look, it's very much to your credit and to your department, your minister and your government that we are here today. So on behalf of, again, the industry, the members and the GDAA, thank you very much, Randall, for the effort that Multimedia Victoria has shown. So could you please thank Randall Straw for me again? Now for the opening address. Now I'm very pleased to be able to obviously introduce Tom Crago, who's CEO of Tantalus, of course, and not only that, but Tom's the president of the GDAA, and with any industry body, I have to tell you that it's a love job. And when you've got sort of over 200 members from students right up to large corporate studios, it's very much a time-consuming effort. And Tom's been doing that charge here now with me for well over 12 months, and it's something that he's been doing with much vigour. Having said that, there's a lot of things that we need to give to you as the industry, and Tom's going to present the opening address for you and give you a quick overview of what's been happening and perhaps where we're going. Tom Crago, thank you.
Thank you. Well, I've been asked to give a presentation and provide a bit of an overview of the state of play at present in the Australian video game industry. And what I propose to do over the course of the next 20 minutes or so is talk to you a little bit about the success stories, a little about our efforts with the federal government. It's obviously a fairly topical issue at present. And finally, take a step back and assess perhaps the state of the Australian industry as we reach the end of the year 2007. I think 2007 has been one of the best years yet for the Australian video game industry. Sometimes I think we can get a little too carried away talking about the things that we want to change, the things that we'd like to see addressed in the industry here in Australia. And sometimes it pays to take a bit of a step back and look at some of the success stories, look at some of the things that we're doing well, and make sure that we don't forget to promote those success stories both here in Australia and overseas. One of the things that rings very true about the Australian industry is our diversity. Whenever publishers come to Australia for the first time, and in situations where they perhaps don't know so much about the industry here in Australia, they sometimes expect to see that we've specialised in one particular area. Maybe we're just focused on handheld or just focused on mobile or casual games. And in actual fact, we have a very, very diverse range of talents here in Australia. We've got studios who are producing games on pretty much every platform and in most genres, all the way from new generation consoles through to handheld and mobile. And I think a look at some of the titles that have been released just this year is testimony to that fact. We've seen Fury from Auron, which is one of the most ambitious MMOGs to have been released in the world this year. It's selling fantastically well here in Australia, and all of us in the Australian industry have high hopes for for that title. And certainly, Oren have invested many years, thousands of man-months in bringing that title to market. A couple of other examples, perhaps in the more mainstream console space, we've seen the release of Heatseeker, Acme Arsenal from Red Tribe, and recently Viva Pinata from Chrome, a first-party title with Microsoft, which is quite an achievement. And then there's Puzzle Quest, and what an absolutely phenomenal success this game has been. It's nominated many times in the Australian Game Developers Awards tomorrow night. It's nominated in the Best Game category for awards all around the world. Infinite Interactive have done an absolutely tremendous job in putting this game together. It's sold hundreds of thousands of copies, and it really is a shining success story for the Australian industry this year. Pony Friends from Tantalus, and this little game is probably going to sell 1 million copies. A couple of interesting things about that title: the fact that it is developed for the DS, and it taps a particular demographic, a very strong demographic on the DS, 7 to 11-year-old girls. The success of that title shows what can be done, I think, when you stray a little from perhaps the traditional genres that many of us tend to develop for. Jackass, New Zealand company, but we'll claim it. They're here at GCAP 2007. That game's done very well too. And we have to look at the mobile space, and really, I think in Australia we're developing a reputation as a world-class provider of mobile phone games. Look at some of these brands: Medal of Honor, Need for Speed, Fast and Furious, and Sims we can add to that list. And all those titles were developed by just 2 companies, both here in Melbourne, Fireman and Iron Monkey. And there are plenty more mobile titles that have been developed in Australia over the course of the year. And Bioshock, well, we can't claim it 100%, but we can certainly recognise and acknowledge the fact that there was an Australian effort behind and involved in what really has been one of the most critically acclaimed video game releases of the year. Now, there are a lot more titles in development, of course, and I like to say that we've got one of the biggest budget PlayStation 3 titles in the world in development here in Australia. I'm not sure that that's strictly true, but it's a claim that I'm happy to make. And I'm talking, of course, about LA Noire, that's in development by Team Bondi. We've also got Sin City in development just down the road here with Transmission Games, Hellboy, Star Wars with Chrome Studios. So we're seeing a mix along this spectrum from very high-profile mobile phone titles all the way up through million-unit selling handheld titles on DS, through to MMOGs, and very high-profile, big-budget, huge team, new-gen console titles. I think when you think about where we've come from in this industry over the course of the last 10 or 15 years, it's quite an achievement to be able to point to that very diverse range of titles in development at present all the way around the country. Now, this is an issue that bores some people. I'm determined to talk about it to give everybody a bit of an update on where we're up to in terms of our efforts lobbying the federal government. This really is important because if we're successful as an industry in the pursuit of this rebate, I think we have the potential in a very short period of time to triple in size. I think we'll see tens of millions of dollars of private money flowing from the investment community into Australia, into our industry, and the upshot really will be that all of us, all of our companies, will have the opportunity to work on more original titles. Titles that will be funded by Australian money, developed by Australian companies, and ultimately, of course, the intellectual property will ultimately reside in Australia. It's about us moving further up the value chain. It's about us being able to successfully commercialise our own ideas and do better deals, smarter deals with publishers. And let me tell you, the publishers aren't going to mind this at all. We're taking some of the risk out of the business for them. We're coming to them with the titles that we will have largely funded using Australian money. And we're going to hope that they like them, because none of us are experts in publishing and distribution. We're still going to have to put those same deals together. But certainly, as I say,